I wonder how much time has passed since then. 2 years? Or maybe 3? It's already difficult to remember. My name is Seiichi Kirishima. I'm a writer by trade, and this book would doubtless be my last piece of work. For now, all I want to do is record everything that happened before it's lost, hoping that someday someone will discover this manuscript. Please, I beg you. I'll do anything you want. Just don't kill me. I don't want to die. Yet. This is the beginning of the survival horror series Hideout, made by Masasumi Kakizaki. The series was originally published in 2010, but gained popularity due to videos made by Wanderer, Spooky Rice, and Fright Ranker. Although the series has been talked about a lot, I want to add in my own 2 cents into this terrifying story about revenge, guilt, and survival. So today, let's head into the Forbidden Cave and explore Hideout.
But if you guys want to see more anime content like this one, then why not go down and hit that subscribe button.
But without further ado, let's get on with the video. It all started on the day my wife and I arrived on this island on vacation. We had hoped this trip would help heal the emotional wound for both of us. Seiichi and Miki Kirishima sat on a desolate beach, their eyes drawn to a father playing joyfully with his 2 kids. Seiichi tried to lighten the mood, but Miki's sarcasm remained unbroken. The relationship having been strained for nearly a year, Seiichi had hoped that this trip might be a chance to rekindle their connection. A local had mentioned a legend about a nearby waterfall. If a couple witnessed it together, it would bring them happiness. Do you really believe in that superstitious nonsense? Miki scoffed. Seiichi nodded. Yes, if it means we can leave our old lives behind and make a fresh start, I'll do anything. They climbed into a jeep, heading through the rain-soaked landscape towards the waterfall. After an hour of driving, Miki's resentment began to resurface. A hotel staff member had told Seiichi about the island's dark history. It had once been a battlefield, littered with the bones of fallen soldiers and the ground stained with their blood. This trip was just an excuse for you to do research for your next trashy novel, Miki accused. He had done everything he could for Miki, but she blamed his writing, his novels, for their son's death. The car stops. Seiichi says that they're out of gas, so now they have to walk to a nearby house that he saw in the distance. They put on raincoats and Seiichi grabs a wrench and a flashlight for the road. I don't remember exactly when I first came up with this idea, but I had pictured it over and over in my head. The moment when I would end this woman's life. Seiichi hits Miki with the wrench on the top of her head. How dare you put the blame on me? I'm not the one responsible, Miki. You are. You killed June. He goes for another swing, but Miki throws a rock to the side of his head and runs away. Do I regret trying to kill her? Absolutely not. She ruined my life. If she stood before me right now, I would do it again in a heartbeat. Looking back, my one regret is that I kept going after her. I should have turned around. Should have walked away. I never should have entered that cave. As he walks deeper into the cave, he corners Miki, who has an injured leg. Miki pleads for her life, but Seiichi hits her again in the head. And now, he can finally start a new life. 2 wicked eyes appear in the shadows, standing behind Seiichi. A disturbed boy walks in on the scene, calling for his mommy. As Seiichi turns around and back, the boy disappears. But Seiichi believes he's just hallucinating. Ever since we lost our child, I had been plagued by nightmares. But it was over now. The nightmares would disappear with her, or so I thought. We see a flashback of Seiichi waiting in a hall when a doctor calls him in, saying his son has been born. We cut back to the present. Seiichi is trying to get out of the cave, but the path has seemed to shift. He trips over, shining his flashlight towards a shoe. As he's distracted, an old anorexic man with a blade swings at Seiichi behind his back, but misses as he starts to run away. He reaches a dead end, but he believes he's just dreaming and screams to himself to wake up. When I realized that creature behind me was neither an illusion nor a figment of a bad dream, but quite real, my anxiety turned to sheer terror. For a brief moment, I found myself wondering how I got to this point, but I didn't have time to ponder the thought. My mind was numbed with fear, the fear of death, and the fear of the unknown in front of me. Seiichi in a hurry climbs down the trapdoor, but slips as the old man stares down on him. Suddenly, we get another flashback as Seiichi receives a call that his novel is being cancelled. He walks into the living room where Jun and Miki greets him cheerfully, having just returned from shopping. He looks over to see a bunch of designer bags on the table. Seiichi tries to tell Miki about his novel, but in Jun's presence, he simply says that everything is fine. Seiichi then wakes up with the trapdoor shut closed. He looks straight and sees an underground hallway filled with skeletons and a woman chained onto a wall. She whispers, 8 people. Seiichi's confused and asks what those monsters were. She replies, they're all dead. You're the 9th one. She asks him how the little boy is doing, but actually it doesn't matter anymore. Seiichi pleads with her, please, tell me everything you know and I promise I'll free you from this place. She replies, they all died, and so will you. Hideout is a very short story with only 9 chapters that takes around an hour or 2 to read the whole thing. I was afraid that the length would bring problems like depth in the plot, character development, or even pacing. But thankfully, this series made a fairly compelling and disturbing story in just a couple of chapters. Within just the first 3 chapters, I was already intrigued with the family drama. I had no prior knowledge about the story until I actually started reading it, and I was very shocked at the direction it went. The story really only follows Seiichi and the only other person with dialogue, Miki, but both of them have such a twisted relationship leading up to the cave that it's pretty hard to read, but in a good way. The mystery surrounding how Jun actually died could be put on either one or even both of the parents. With the complexity of each character, it really could be either one's fault. I really did think that the old man and the boy were hallucinations, just due to the fact that the story we're reading is the aftermath of a man who has lost everything, and now his past trauma is coming back to haunt him as he's slowly getting driven into madness. But no, the cave people are real, and so far I don't really know their purpose or how they really fit into the story yet. The best part about this series and why it became so popular though is the art style. The art, when it wants to be happy and normal, just looks like a regular manga series, but when they reach the main plot, it's really detailed, sharp, and filled with darkness to match the tone of the situation. It is absolutely breathtaking what the mangaka did in this series. The only complaint I really had is that sometimes we'll get these like spider webs on the panel. It makes it look like it's raining inside the cave when it's not supposed to be. I don't really know what's going to be happening in the next couple of chapters, but so far I've been pretty impressed with everything that I've seen. Hopefully the next chapters don't ruin it for me. But before we get to the next part, I just want to say that we now have a Discord server. So if you guys want to talk about your favorite series, get recommendations, and just connect with some like-minded fans of mine, then this is the server for you. We'll soon be hosting live community events like games, live reactions, and live readings only on the Discord server. So if you want to be involved in this, then why not scroll down and join our community? But back to the video. Seiichi is getting dragged by the old man as he gets a glimpse of a boarded up room. Inside is a naked man tied up to a wooden chair, begging to die. We cut to the beginning of the first chapter, with Seiichi tied up in a room similar to the man's. How long was I locked up in that room? A day? A week? I can no longer tell. On top of driving you crazy, the darkness and isolation also robbed you of all of your sense of time. It might sound bizarre, but the only thing keeping me from completely losing my mind was the ghastly screams that emitted regularly from the neighboring room. They reminded me that I was still alive, and then one day the screaming stopped. All that time I had been trying to figure out why he still kept me alive, but the answer was so obvious. I was his meal. Seiichi is haunted by memories of being rejected by a publisher. Despite the setback, he calls Miki, lying about securing a job. As Miki prepares the dinner, the weight of Seiichi's massive death looms over him, pushing him to seek a loan. Despite this, he begs the publisher for any job, eager to provide for his family. One afternoon, Seiichi is working on his novel, music blasting through his headphones. Miki is about to go shopping and reminds Seiichi to watch Jun and bring in the laundry, but the music draws her out. After she leaves, Jun notices the open balcony door and tries to help by bringing in the laundry. He climbs the stepladder, reaches for a shirt, and slips. When Seiichi finishes his writing, he goes to check on Miki and Jun. Looking over the balcony, he sees Jun's lifeless body on the concrete below. At Jun's funeral, whispers of gossip swirl, blaming Seiichi for the tragedy. His father-in-law knocks him down, regretful of allowing him to marry his daughter. Seiichi says that it's not his fault, but Miki confronts him, blaming him for Jun's death. Back in the present, Seiichi pleads for help. The doors open, revealing Miki, now hunting him down. She strikes him repeatedly with the wrench. The monster has a soft spot for women and tended her wounds. She plans to escape and announce that Seiichi's death was just an accident. When she leaves, Seiichi breaks down in tears when the doors open again, revealing the boy who says he smells like his mother. Seiichi realizes that the boy's mother is the woman chained up. He convinces the boy to untie him, promising to take him to her. The boy complies, leading Seiichi to a stash of clothes and a machete. Seiichi questions why the old man, who he thinks is his father, locked up his mother. The boy explains that she would run away and that the outside is dangerous. A sliver of hope ignites within Seiichi. He plans to take the boy to his mother and confront the old man. In another room, the old man is on top of Miki. She insists that she's different from the others and will never betray him. Seiichi stabs the old man in the ribs, intent on killing Miki, but the old man intervenes and attacks. Miki escapes, distracting the old man long enough for Seiichi to slash his stomach. Seiichi screams and chases after Miki, but the boy pleads to see his mother again. While this, Seiichi envisions the boy as Jun. A flashback reveals the aftermath of Jun's funeral. Seiichi suggests having another child to save their marriage, but Miki refuses, admitting that she never wanted kids in the first place and that Jun was just an accident. She tells him to move on and continue working to support her. We cut to Seiichi at his father-in-law's house, seeking his help to convince Miki to agree to a divorce. The father-in-law calls for a lawyer, planning to accuse Seiichi of causing his own son's death and abandoning his grieving wife, demanding compensation for Miki. Later, Seiichi visits his in-laws again, announcing a trip with Miki. Her father questions the divorce plans, but Seiichi implies that he has other intentions. The chase continues as Miki finds an exit from the cave but is stabbed in the head by the old man. Seiichi guides the boy to the hatch, telling him that his mother is below. The boy gazes not at Seiichi but at the old man looming over him. The old man stabs Seiichi's shoulder with a knife attached to a rifle. Seiichi grabs a torch and strikes the old man's face, urging the boy to hurry to his mother. "Don't worry, Jun," he whispers. "Daddy will be right behind you." Turning to the old man, Seiichi declares he's done begging for help and will kill him instead. "I worked hard to provide for my family, so they didn't have to want for anything. It's all my fault, you said? Don't make me laugh. I did nothing wrong. Why couldn't they just leave me alone? Enough was enough. To hell with them all. I just want to start a new family." Yeah, a new family. After the explosion, Seiichi, now with only one eye, makes his way to the boy and the woman. He kneels beside the boy and reassures him, saying, "Daddy took care of the monster." Seiichi releases the woman from her chains. She asks if he really killed the old man. He smiles and replies, "Of course, I do anything for my dear wife and son." The woman expresses her excitement about finally leaving the cave, but Seiichi asks, "Why would you want to go outside? There's nothing out there. Everything you need is right here. I'm here, you're here, and most importantly, our precious son is here. What else do you need? As long as you have your family, nothing else matters." Now I know exactly how that monster felt. Here is where the story ends. The year is 1989, and this is my story. We cut to the future, November 30th, 2010. A couple gets stranded on the island and continues the path on foot to call for help. Finally, I have a favor to ask whoever is reading this. I've been here by myself for so long. I feel so lonely. I want to meet you. I want to welcome you. You, the reader of this book. If you happen to find the entrance to the cave, don't hesitate to come in. Help me. I can't bear it anymore. I don't want to be alone anymore. I'm Seiichi Kirishima. You're my family. The series is really a dark and interesting perspective on the insanity of Seiichi. While the story pulls you in emotionally and mentally, it's very hard to root for any of these characters. It may cut some people off from the story, but it's intentional. Both characters are very unlikable, even though we see more suffering coming from the protagonist. He's still doing really horrible things throughout the entire series. However, it doesn't mean that it's not doing a great job at keeping us engaged and making us care about what's going on. The old man is a perfect symbolism for the protagonist, as at first I thought it was just another random villain, but the old man is a reflection of Seiichi's heart, and it's only backed up with the ending. I also love the perspective of this series coming from a book, especially since this is the last book he'll ever write, and his novels were the reason for all of the bad things that happened in his life. The flashbacks are a great touch, showing us what led up to the trip and filling in the clues to who really killed June. Even though it really was Seiichi's fault, and you can argue that they're really both at fault, Miki and her family just don't help out the situation, making it even worse for Seiichi. It really shows how painful a loss could be and what happens when the trauma isn't resolved or filled with closure. The only problem I see with the flashbacks is where they're placed in the series. I understand sometimes it's good to have them spaced out here and there, but I felt like it wasn't done right. We could go from a short scene to a flashback, then back to the present to a shorter flashback. Those two flashbacks could have just been combined together, you know what I mean? It might just be me, but I feel like it ruined a bit of the pacing, especially since that this is a series that you can finish in just an hour or two. The ending was great. A lot of people thought that it was really predictable, but I didn't see it coming, so this entire experience just felt a lot better for me. Hideout might be one of my favorite short horror series that I've read in a long time, other than Animal Human, of course. It's a haunting tale that delves into the depths of human emotion and the consequences of unresolved trauma. The story masterfully intertwines themes of guilt, madness, and the desperate search for redemption in a way that keeps readers on the edge until the very end. Despite it only being 9 chapters long, the manga manages to create a compelling narrative with complex characters who, while deeply flawed, invoke a sense of intrigue. The art style plays a crucial role in conveying the story's dark atmosphere, drawing readers with extremely detailed panels and imagery. While the pacing and flashback placements may occasionally disrupt the flow, they ultimately contribute to a more immersive experience. Hideout serves as a powerful reminder of how unresolved grief and guilt can consume a person, driving them to the brink of insanity. It's a testament to the power of storytelling in the horror genre, leaving readers both unsettled and captivated by its exploration of the psyche of a man going insane. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to join the Discord server. The link will be in the description below. And if you like horror, anime, and manga videos, then why not scroll down and hit that subscribe button. But I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.